The champagne flutes glittered under the ballroom chandeliers, and the air hummed with the smug satisfaction of my family's success. I, Maya, sat at a table draped in white linen, clutching my daughter Emma's small hand. At 4 years old, she was the best part of my 27 years, but to everyone else here, she was my greatest shame. My journey to this moment was paved with quiet sacrifices they would never comprehend. The meals I skipped, the sleep I lost, the dreams I deferred, all woven silently into the fabric of our survival. "Well, Maya, at least you can babysit if any of us need help tonight," my aunt's voice boomed, slicing through the polite conversation. The table, my cousins, aunts, uncles, erupted in familiar, cruel laughter. My cheeks burned, but I squeezed Emma's hand, a silent promise. They had no idea about the groom, and certainly no idea about the depths of my resilience or the secret history that connected us in the most profound way imaginable. I worked double shifts as a medical assistant, a realm of fluorescent lights and other people's pain that was far more honest than this opulent wedding. Her father vanished at the first positive test, and my family had since appointed me their permanent cautionary tale. Tonight, at my cousin Jessica's wedding to the dazzlingly successful David, was merely their latest exhibition. I'd saved for 3 months to buy the navy dress I wore and the elegant silver frame gift now deemed too extravagant by Jessica herself. "Don't you need this for diapers?" she'd asked with faux concern, her eyes hard. We were seated at a table with literal children, served smaller portions on plastic plates. "Single mom portions for the single mom table," Aunt Lisa announced, as if delivering a masterpiece of wit. The humiliation was a bitter taste, but beneath it, a steady flame of dignity burned, a flame they could not see. Through it all, a strange familiarity nagged at me. David, the groom, his smile, the careful way he moved, a faint scar on his neck. It tickled a deep, forgotten memory. I dismissed it, chalking it up to the stress of the humiliation, but the ghost of recognition lingered like a half-remembered song. The toasts were a special kind of torture. My uncle raised his glass. "To learning from others' mistakes," he intoned, his gaze a laser pointer on my forehead. The room tittered. Emma whispered, "Mommy, why is everyone being mean to you?" Her innocent question, laced with confusion and hurt, was the anchor that kept me from drowning in their disdain. "Sometimes people forget how to be kind, baby, but it doesn't change who we are," I told her, the words as much for myself as for her. Our worth was not a currency traded in this room of crystal and judgment. It was a quiet, immutable truth. The final straw was the collective demand for $200 for a luxury European honeymoon fund. "We all need to contribute equally," a cousin insisted, the word equally a breathtaking insult that laid bare their willful blindness to my reality. That demand, echoing in the space between their privilege and my struggle, was the catalyst. That's when the pieces, scattered by years of survival, suddenly locked together. David's careful posture, the gait of someone who'd been profoundly weak, the scar, a central line scar. His age, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I had donated bone marrow. It was an anonymous, grueling process. I took unpaid leave I couldn't afford, endured the deep, aching pain, and asked for nothing. All I knew was that a man in his early 30s with leukemia got a chance. The hospital, in a rare clerical error, had sent a single photo in the follow-up packet, a blurred image of a gaunt man in a hospital bed turned away from the camera. I had filed it away and focused on the next bill, the next shift. Now, staring across the room at David, vibrant, alive, marrying the golden child, the truth was undeniable. I had given him this life. My friend Sarah, a nurse from my hospital, found me pale and shaking by the dessert table. "Maya, what's wrong?" she asked, her professional eye immediately noting my distress. "The groom, David. I think I'm his donor." The words felt surreal, spoken aloud in this gilded cage. Her eyes widened. She knew my story, my struggles, my quiet strength. "You have to be sure," she urged, but her face already believed. I was. The evidence was in my phone, in dated medical documents and that accidental photo. The breaking point came when my grandmother, the family matriarch, glided over, her perfume a cloud of old money roses. "Maya, dear, perhaps it's time you took Emma home. The real celebrating is beginning." Her dismissal was the final gentle push over a cliff I had already decided to jump from. Something in me solidified, a quiet steel forged in every silent struggle, every lonely night. "In a moment," I said, my voice steady, a new force behind it. I took Emma's hand, her trusting grip my courage, and walked directly to David, who was momentarily alone by the garden doors. "David, I'm Maya, Jessica's cousin. We need to talk, privately." My tone brooked no argument, and he, perhaps sensing the gravity, simply nodded. On the cool, dark terrace, away from the music and mockery, I didn't mince words. "3 years ago, you were dying of leukemia at St. Mary's. You received a bone marrow transplant." He went rigid, the casual smile vanishing. "How could you possibly," he started, his voice tight. "Because I was your donor." I showed him my phone, the documents, the dates, the photo. He stared, his hands beginning to tremble as he took the device, his eyes glistening in the string-light glow as they flicked between the screen and my face. "This is you? You're the reason I'm alive?" he cracked with raw emotion. "All night they've been, and you," he looked back toward the laughing, oblivious crowd inside. "They need to know, they have to know who you are." Before I could stop him, he turned and strode back inside with a determined purpose. He took the microphone from the confused DJ and tapped it, the sound echoing like a starting pistol. "Excuse me, everyone, if I could have your attention." The room quieted, smiles fixed in place for the handsome groom. Jessica beamed, expecting a romantic proclamation. "3 years ago," began his full, emotional speech that quickly silenced the last murmurings. "I was given weeks to live. I was in a hospital bed, dying of leukemia. My only hope was the incredible selflessness of a complete stranger, someone who agreed to donate their bone marrow. It's a painful, taxing process. They did it anonymously, asking for nothing, giving me everything." He paused, scanning the room. "Tonight, I found that my donor, my hero, is here with us." He took a deep, shaky breath, his gaze finding me where I stood at the edge of the room, holding Emma. "That person is Maya." Every head swiveled, a collective, sharp intake of breath filled the hall. The sneers, the pity, the contempt, all melted into stunned, open-mouthed silence. My aunt's wineglass hovered halfway to her lips. While raising her daughter alone, working tirelessly, she did this. She gave me this chance. David's voice grew stronger, laced with a righteous anger they all now understood. "The strength and character she has, that is what deserves our highest respect. Not judgment, not ridicule, eternal gratitude." A wave of deafening applause started, awkward and desperate at first, then building into a roaring standing ovation. But the sound felt distant, irrelevant. The looks on my family's faces, the dawning horror, the shame, was their reckoning, not my victory. I stood, gathered Emma into my arms, her weight was the only real thing in the suddenly surreal room, and walked towards the exit. Jessica and David rushed over, a torrent of apologies and pleas tumbling from their lips. "Maya, please, we didn't know. We have to make this right. Please stay," Jessica cried, her perfect makeup smudged. I looked at them, then at the sea of mortified, chastised faces behind them. "Thank you for the acknowledgement, David. It was brave. But you can't make tonight right. You can only learn from it." My voice was calm, final. "Good night." I walked out into the clear, cool night, the grand hotel doors swinging shut behind me. Emma's weight was solid and warm against me. She nuzzled into my neck. "Mommy, why were they clapping at the end? Were they being nice now?" "Because sometimes, my love, it takes people a very long time and a very loud truth to see what was always there, but we've always known who we are." For the first time in years, the silence that followed me was not filled with their whispers, but my own profound peace. My worth was never in their hands. It was in the marrow I gave, the love I nurtured, and the quiet, unbreakable strength of a survivor, a strength they could finally see but could never take away.